Brand Dynamics. Welcome to week 3 of your capstone project. This week we will discuss brand dynamics. We will look at what is brand dynamics, rebranding, and brand redesign. What is brand dynamics? Brands need to stand the test of time. A successful brand becomes part of mainstream culture. When the average person is bombarded with over 3,000 advertisements, logos, and labels in a day, what makes yours stand out? With the amount of brands that we see each day, a few certain ones make a connection with the consumer. For example, Budweiser beer, we think of Clydesdales and American Lager. Joy dishwashing soap may remind you of your mother. What makes a brand last? The essence of greatness is in the capacity of a brand to foster the sales of a product or service by creating an emotional link with its audience. A great brand balances the delivery of functional benefits with emotional ones. They intimately know their target market. Great brands sell and sell repeatedly. Not only must the brand have a great redesign, it increases sustainable sales and price premiums and attracts and retains the best talent, and facilitating relationships with employees, suppliers, vendors, shareholders, and the community. So then why rebrand? There is a brand dynamics pyramid by Millward Brown. It forms the basis of illustrating the strength of a relationship between consumer and brands. The stronger the relationship, the more successful the brand becomes. Metrics developed by Hall and Partners to evaluate a brand strength is broken down here. Brand commitment. How likely would you be to choose a brand the next time you choose? Brand involvement. How would you feel about brand if it came to life as a person? Depth of information. The advertising gives me enough information to decide whether a brand is for me. Reappraisal. The advertising is surprising and gets me to think differently about brand. Brand values. The advertising really helps me to connect with brand and identify with it more closely. And finally, we have a call to action. The advertising gives me a reason to go out and buy the brand. So why do we rebrand? A reason may be the brand is just wrong or has to overcome negative perception. The company maybe outgrew its brand. The company has changed its values or mission. Let's talk about for a second the brand that is just wrong or has to overcome a negative perception. This is the AIG scenario. They were blamed for a global financial crisis and now have a branding issue. Although AIG's issues are broader than this, sell a tainted product and your company could go out of business. Brands are people's expectation of future interactions with a company based on past performance. If not enough positive brand equity has been established, a negative experience could put an end to a brand. Let's talk about companies that outgrow a brand. Companies select brands based upon their current understanding of the market and the customers they intend to target. With success, however, they can potentially outgrow the original intention of the brand. IBM used to stand for International Business Machines. After that name was no longer relevant to their expanded target market and product offering, IBM now just stands for IBM. And now let's talk about a company that's changed its value or mission. This sometimes happens when a company merges or is bought or sold to another company. Also, rebranding can help a company re-enter the marketplace with a new approach and target mark. Rebranding can be a lucrative endeavor. Companies want to protect the already established equity in their company. However, rebranding takes more thought and more decisions than original branding. Types of rebranding, there's two: corporate and product rebranding. We're going to look at each one individually. Corporate rebranding is the practice of using a company's name as a product name. It is an attempt to leverage corporate brand equity to create product brand recognition. It's a type of family branding or umbrella brand. Corporate branding is not limited to a specific name or mark. Branding can include a logo, customer service, treatment and training of employees, packaging, advertising, stationery, and quality of products and services. Any means by which the general public comes into contact with a specific brand constitutes a touch point that can affect perceptions of a corporate brand. Product rebranding, as for product offerings when they are marketed separately to several target markets, this is called market segmentation. When part of a market segmentation strategy involves offering significantly different products in each market, this is called product differentiation. This market segmentation product differentiation process can be thought of as a form of rebranding. What distinguishes it from other forms of rebranding is that the process does not entail the elimination of the original brand image. Another form of product rebranding is the sale of a product manufactured by another company under a new name. An original design manufacturer is a company which manufactures a product which is eventually branded by another firm for sale. This is often the case with international trade. The manufacturing can take place in a place with lower operating costs while being sold under a local brand name. What mistakes are made when rebranding? Clinging to history. Rebranding means staying relevant. Assumptions made when the brand was established may no longer hold true. Analyze changes in target markets when exploring opportunities for brand expansion, repositioning, and revitalization. Think of the brand as the logo, stationery, or corporate colors. Brands encompass everything from computer perception and experience to quality, look and feel, customer care, retail and web environments, the tone and voice of communications, and more. Navigating without a plan. Effective brands rely on a creative brief to keep everyone focused as the project progresses. Include sections for a situation analysis, objectives, target markets, budget and resources, time frame, point perspective, known parameters, approval structure, stakeholders, and metrics for assessing results. Another mistake is refusing to hire a branding consultant without industry experience. It's okay to consider an agency that hasn't worked in your specific industry before. Sometimes it's ideal, especially if you're serious about a turnaround. Smart companies recognize the value of fresh perspectives. Another mistake is not leveraging existing brand equity and goodwill. Dismissing brand equity when rebranding alienates established customers, while unnecessarily overhauls can irreparably damage a brand's perception. Consider the needs and mindset of the target market carefully before digging into the process. Sometimes a small evolution or a new coat of paint is all that's needed to rejuvenate and make a brand relevant. Some more mistakes. Not trying on your customer's shoes. Simply calling your own 800 number or receptionist may reveal challenges customers face and inform your rebranding strategy. Take time to navigate your own website. Buy your products and return something. Better yet, ask a friend or family member to do so and learn from their experience. The rebrand lacks credibility or a superficial facelift. The rebrand story must be believable given the existing brand experience and customer perception. It must also hold credibility internally. If employees who live the brand day to day don't believe, the target audience won't either. Another mistake is limiting the influence of branding partners. Good branding consultants are more than graphic designers. The best ones help develop new products, expand demographic focuses, and even streamline business operations. Rein them in when needed, but don't limit the areas of influence. Here's another mistake: believing rebranding costs too much. Good thinking doesn't have to come with a multi-million-dollar payout. You can get good thinking and solid strategy from small and talented branding agencies, consultants, and in-house talent. Consider university students or small firms for cost-effective results. Not planning for adaptation is another mistake. It's tempting for teams to walk away after the final presentation. However, this is just the beginning of the final sketch. The implementation process requires adaptation as the rebrand rolls out. Acknowledge the need to keep the team and consultants together throughout implementation. And there's more mistakes people make. Here's some more. Bypassing the basics. The value of perfecting your physical environment, marketing materials, website, etc., is decreased if your customers languish on hold for inordinate amounts of time. If your invoices and contracts are written in 7-point legal jargon, the brand experience declines. Keep all customer touchpoints in mind when rebranding. A mistake is not calling the call center, which was somewhat mentioned a few seconds ago. Often ignored in brand strategy sessions, customer service and other frontline staff can yield valuable information. This is the proverbial buck, the place where customers are the most honest, no matter what research indicates. Here's another mistake people make with rebranding: forgetting that people don't do what they say, they do what they do. Use caution when basing rebranding strategies on focus group type research. Unless you're physically in the customer's environment observing them from your product or service, you're not getting the full story. Actual observation, while not perfect, will get you a lot closer to the right solution. We're getting closer to the bottom of this list on this slide, at least, for problems. Getting strong-armed or intimidated by consultants. It's a client's responsibility to reel things in when necessary. You still know the most about your brand and organization, the value of a non-immersed, fresh perspective notwithstanding. On this slide, the last one here is putting the wrong person in charge. Assuming you've hired capable to outstanding branding consultants, the quality of the work delivered depends on sound, knowledgeable project management. Make sure your internal point person has the skills, time, and resources to drive the agency to its most effective work. Here's a list of some more mistakes with rebranding. Strategy by committee. Too many opinions delay the rebranding process and diffuse the focus needed to achieve ROI, return on investment. Keep those with critical approval authority to an efficient shortlist and assemble the smallest, most essential project team possible. Include a mix of levels, not just executive. Rebranding without research is another mistake. There's a lot of lip service about customers, but in brand strategy sessions, they're often forgotten. Current and prospective customers should be front and center when creating solutions. After all, the consumer will be your ultimate test. Here's another mistake: basing a rebrand on advertising. An ad campaign and a slogan do not equal brand positioning. Brand strategy should lead advertising, not the other way around. Sometimes the most effective rebrands don't include traditional advertising. Tunnel focus, another mistake in rebranding. Focusing solely on your own industry can be limiting. When rebranding, cross-pollinate your thinking with what leaders in other industries are doing in regard to customer experience, retail experience, and customer care. Pull in thinking from different industries, encourage your agency to do so. Believing you're too small to rebrand is one of the final mistakes I want to talk about. So believing you're too small to rebrand. Well, every brand needs refreshing to stay relevant as markets evolve. Smaller companies and nonprofits are not immune to this. Like larger brands, they too have brand positions that need to be enhanced. Define your brand or be defined. Now we'll look at companies that have been rebranded. In 2008, Starbucks looked at a contemporary rebrand, going back to their original logo. They did this temporarily for 8 weeks, and it did cause some brand confusion. Companies that have rebranded with new purpose and values, setting a fresh direction, like Kraft Foods, also gave its corporate logo a facelift to more clearly deliver delicious. The new identity features a smile, the natural reaction to delicious foods and experiences, and a colorful flavor burst. It signals to employees, consumers, and investors what the new Kraft Foods is all about. Hudson's Bay Company was founded in 1670 by King Charles II. It is a huge Canadian retailer with over 600 retail locations all across Canada. The new rebrand is a look back at a more classic, regal emblem, the branding reminiscent of the company's history. On July 7, 2009, the Sci-Fi Channel rebranded after 16 years. By changing the name to Sci-Fi, which remains phonetically identical, the new brand broadens perceptions and embraces a wider range of current and future imagination-based entertainment beyond just the traditional sci-fi genre. This includes fantasy, supernatural, paranormal, reality, mystery, action, and adventure. Here we see the rebrand for Jack in the Box. The old logo had all the fixings of a classic American fast food chain logo with red and quirky typography, plus years of equity. The new logo is a contemporary departure from the original, which shows what's been happening to fast food logos. The new custom script is attractive and dynamic. And pending a press release, I'm pretty sure that the tail of the K is meant to be a smile. Operating since 1933, Air France has become one of the biggest and most recognized airlines in the world, traveling to nearly 100 countries. A new identity replacing its last updates since 1975 has been designed by Brand Image. Just in time for the NBA All-Star Slam Dunk Contest, in which Sprite sponsors, they are putting into use a new, dynamic, and active logo that in context is quite decent. Walmart rebranded in 2008. There is little information available as to why Walmart rebranded themselves. Some think that the new branding is to reflect the more environmentally conscious approach the company is taking. There's been quite a bit of controversy surrounding Pepsi's recent rebrand. Love it or hate it, it could be interesting to look at. Here are all the Pepsi brands from 1898 to 2005. The Pepsi look from 1971 to 2005 5 have become very iconic. It's up to the interpretation why Pepsi rebranded themselves. As we know, rebranding is not only about the logo and brand, packages get rebranded too. Here we see Cheers package redesign. Both the logo and package were revamped. In this redesign, the logo remains the same, but the packaging becomes more organic and in line with a softer approach. In this case, Bath & Body Works took an entirely new approach to the packaging in terms of bottle style and graphics. This is not a huge departure for Cadbury, but one that makes the product more of the focus. For Kraft, again, it was not about redesigning the logo and brand, but modernizing the package to keep in line with a more naturalistic approach. This is what we covered this week. We discussed brand dynamics, we looked at what brand dynamics is, rebranding, and brand design.